Hey there, everybody. This is Joyce Sang, content marketer and founder based in Hong Kong. I help those with an entrepreneurial mindset explore their full potential with content. Today, I have a special guest with us, Janessa Chan, who is in the legal industry, where she's going to be sharing with us a bit about how content, storytelling, and what sort of marketing she's trying to use online to help and promote and raise the awareness of her firm. So, we're going to kick off and have Janessa introduce herself and tell us where you're working, what you're doing.
So, hello everyone, I'm Janessa. Thank you so much, Joyce, to invite me for this interview, and I'm very happy to share my experience with you all today. I'm currently a BD, so business development, at a law firm in Hong Kong called JC Legal, but I have no prior law knowledge at all. Before joining the company, I was in the media industry, and my first job was actually at an event agency. I started with event planning and hosting events for over thousands of audiences because there's no COVID at that time. And then I changed to a media companies with magazine, printed, and also online website. I talked to a lot of entrepreneurs and also very active in different events and sponsorship, partnership. So there's quite a bit in the lifestyle area, not so much in the professional field. And then, funny enough, I approached Janice, the principal of JC Legal, for interview. She wants to expand the marketing side in her firm. So she thought it will be a good opportunity for me to join the team to expand the lifestyle area or entrepreneurship at this law firm. With my joining the team, we expand a lot more on the event side. That's currently what I'm bringing to the firm.
That's great. That's really interesting because, for those of you who are watching, I met Janessa at an event. So we met at an event that was called the Entrepreneur Day here in Hong Kong. And they were hosting a booth and introducing their services as well as their company. Like Janessa mentioned, you're doing a lot of different content activations here and there, both online and offline, and including things that might be usually perceived as quite traditional, like a booth, but also things like networking events. So how did you actually come about to those ideas, thinking that you should throw in a bit of entrepreneurial mindset and more unique gatherings for different people to learn about the brand, whether or not they might use the service at the end of the day? How did you come about that? Was that from your background knowledge, or was that from a strategic point of view that you decided to do that?
We're still active on the traditional and professional side, like HKTDC and hosting booth, exhibition, conference. But for a more like networking side, it's our first time to launch an in-house event, which is pure networking with entrepreneurs and also different service providers or like-minded people, because our target audience in the firm is startups and SMEs, and our service is a very affordable option. So we think it's necessary to tap into this community, whether that is co-working space, events, then we can group this community. And if ultimately that leads to any leads, that will be great. But our aim is not rely on generating leads. We want to have this community to show other people that we're not just a law firm, because yes, we provide legal services, but we are very active in entrepreneurship. Janice herself, our principal, is a serial entrepreneur. She got multiple ventures and also expanding her office to Malaysia and UK. So we have a story to tell. And it's always interesting to connect with different people to see if we have any upcoming collaborations for them or any service that we can help. It's very casual. We just want to emphasize that we're not like the traditional law firm in Hong Kong or anywhere else, because having in-house networking event at a law firm is not common around the world, I would say. We're very happy to have this opportunity and also have the support from different entrepreneurs to come and join us. We're trying to keep that monthly and also expand it to Malaysia as well, and next month in the UK. We're really trying to make the message that we are very approachable and innovative and open-minded about our work and our service.
Definitely, definitely. You've mentioned that your boss and people in the company are very entrepreneurial minded as well. So they actually see the value in doing such events. So I would imagine that when you proposed such idea, it went through quite smoothly. Now, as you can imagine, for other law firms or people who might not have these ideas or not understand why or the value behind these, can you slightly explain to people who might be in the legal industry who is interested in venturing out and doing content pieces like this, how can they actually get buy-in? How can they actually tell people, hey, this is worth doing? What is the main value that you have experienced in hosting these networking events or things that's non-traditional in a sort of sense for the company?
I would say so far, the feedback from all participants, they're saying meeting up people, especially when we're stuck for a bit of time, it's not the most enjoyable thing to do. I'm not an extrovert, so it can get quite intimate to get to know people. But I think it's necessary given that different people have different thoughts and visions and also different opportunities upcoming. We connect different people during the event, like yoga teacher and a diffuser company. They didn't know each other at first, but there can be business opportunities happening. They just don't have the chance to meet each other. So events, you might not think it's necessary at the first place. So you think it's just another networking event. But if you go out there, you might meet someone that is similar to you who is a bit shy, but ultimately there will be something that you can think of the other person when the opportunity happens. So I know Joyce now, but I won't expect to have this interview when I first saw you, right? So unexpected opportunities. I'm not sure whether I'm answering the questions.
Definitely. I think that really makes sense. And it's really on the same page as what I always cheesily open with my tagline as well. It's really about opening doors and opportunities, because at the end of the day, you would never be able to anticipate the exact results. However, if you
Yeah.
don't take that first step, you'll never get there and understand what are the potentials that's out there for you to actually tap into. And I think you're
Yeah.
definitely hitting it on the nail. So with that being said, you mentioned you come from a different background and entering the legal field with a different perspective, which I believe is ultimately what a lot of people should take advantage of, because traditional marketing methods are still important, however, cannot be the bulk of attracting and building brand awareness. You need to have that additional side of content and storytelling. So, apart
Mhm.
from networking events and the traditional marketing tactics that you have deployed for JC Legal, what other things have you been doing with content, perhaps online, in order to
Mhm.
build different things for the company? Can you share that with us as well?
Sure. We have our Instagram and also LinkedIn account, so we're quite active on that. Apart from all the International Women's Day or those shout out, we customize it. So we have this series called Small Firm, Big Act. Because as you have visited our firm, we are a very small team. Even though we're small, we deliver professional service. So we have this Small Firm Big Act series, hashtag on LinkedIn and also on Instagram. It's a series every week, and we share some simple law related knowledge or any updates from government or the regulatory stuff from a non-legal person like me to our audience, because our audience startup and SMEs, they need to be aware of what is happening for the business. Maybe it's crypto, web3, but they might not have the resource. So we're trying to make these information easy for them to understand, because some of the terms are very difficult. And also talk to different publisher or awards to see if there's any nominations or award recognitions, charters. We're eligible for these. Are very soft but also result driven. If you have achieved 1 2 3, then you can apply for these awards, and if they think that it's valid, it's legit, it's good, then we get awarded. These are simple and a lot of them are free. So I think it's important to keep an eye on these, because it's basically free marketing.
Yeah, and I think that doesn't just work for a company like yours within the
Yeah.
legal sector either. I've been bombarding you with my own content. I've just been awarded with something, and
Yeah,
it's the
I
same.
saw it. Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you. It's exactly the same idea, right? Just getting in touch with things that's happening and hopefully
Mm-hmm.
tapping into different opportunities where you get to build connections. Now, one of
Mm-hmm.
the reasons why I've actually asked Janessa to come on this interview and share her thoughts about content and building things for the company is because within one of the 2022 content marketing reports, it did state that one of the most emerging and growing industries that is optimizing and using content marketing to their advantage is legal. So, in our last episode, it was Barton who is
Mm-hmm.
in real estate. And that
Mm-hmm.
was one of the sectors as well, which he has been able to tap into and use that to build his personal brand. Now,
Mm-hmm.
for you guys, it's obvious that it takes a lot of points for people to not just know about your company, but most importantly, trust in you guys. That's the whole
Mm-hmm.
point of finding legal advice or lawyers or law firms to help, whether it's small businesses or entrepreneurs. From your point of view, with all the things that you have tried to do and has done, what do you think is the magic ingredient in trying to build trust within your audiences through content, what is it that you find the most helpful or that you've tested that has actually worked?
I think showing genuinity. So being genuine is very important. What is our ultimate goal? Why are we doing so? Who are we inviting? And just sharing why, I think, really touch people to understand, oh, so it's a good intention and I can take away something from this meeting. So I think this is a very friendly approach to people, because for all the BYOB, so bring our own buddy series, I text or I email each participant through WhatsApp or email or LinkedIn. I make it personal so that they can see, oh, it's not a cold email or something. I really target monthly gathering to certain people. So I don't bulk send to 50 people. I will just target, like, maybe I want to invite these 10, and then I will text them. I will ask them if they're free, and I will tell them why we're doing so and what you're expected to take away from this section. So I think being genuine of your goal and what are you hoping to achieve, it's very important, given that a lot of other events are happening. You might want to choose that one because it's a big title and we're just like a small firm. So there might be a lot of doubt, but being genuine will be my approach to really get people together.
Cool, cool. And I remember that as well. Receiving a direct message from you personally really
Yeah.
makes a difference. Now, perhaps a lot of people, especially in the legal industry, would question that sounds like a lot of work, which is
Mhm.
true, right? At the end of the day, creating extra content, comparing that
Yeah.
to back in the good old days where you just kind of wait for people to look for you through word of mouth
Yeah.
and referral. Now you have to do a bunch of stuff and things like that. Apart from you, how have you or have you not actually utilized the employees like within your small team to push that forward? Is other people in the team also aware of this idea that we JC Legal is slightly different? We want to be more approachable, we want to be accessible with legal advices, things like that. Have you been that person to kind of push that in the company as well? And if so, what have you actually tried to do in order to motivate everybody in the company to take part and share the workloads, to share the word out and tell people about the company?
Yeah, so it's been tough to invite and host everything, but my team, like my teammate Leslie, is actually a big like help for organizing all these events, so we can split the invitation to really shortlist who to invite. In terms of the legal team, on our website we are uploading more and frequently for articles and updates on regulatory guidelines. We have been asking the legal team to draft 1 or 2 articles every month so we can keep ourselves active and keep the noise up, because we can always post on LinkedIn, say check this out, check that out, and then on Instagram and also direct messages. We have to tell the legal team that we need to position ourselves as an approachable law firm. These are the easiest way to get out there, to create in-house content instead of relying on people mentioning you. So these are the organic thing that we do. So given that our legal team are professional, they are updated on all the updates. So they can write an article and then we can publish it and market it and send to partners to see.
Definitely. I think that's also one of the pain points amongst very different companies across different industries as well. When you need to share that expertise, you fail to find the right people with the time to pumping out content consistently. Now, you've mentioned that you have content coming out on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on your website, and then you have offline networking events and series. Within
Mhm.
all of these things, which one do you personally actually enjoy doing the most? Because as you've mentioned, you're not actually from a legal background. You're
Mhm.
there to try and give people a different perspective. Which platform do you find the most enjoyable in creating content?
So with bias, I will definitely say it's BYOB. So bring your own buddy, because I was an event planner back then. So it's kind of like getting back into the routine of hosting, planning, what is the theme, what's up for the month, and then shortlisting who to invite, ordering food, getting everything ready, and alerting the team that this day will be the BYOB, and then inviting everybody here. It's really a mini event. So I still enjoy that sparks when I meet people, although it's stressful sometimes because maybe it's raining or people are not coming or it's a tight timeline. But so far, so good. Everyone who came said that they enjoyed it really much. And they really had a connection with other people. We are being helpful in a sense for them to connect with people that they might not have the chance to chat at other events. Because say in a bigger event, there might be over thousands of people or hundreds of people. It's really hard for one-to-one connections. That's why we keep it small, maybe just 10 or 15 in the room, just to really chat and to see, oh, I'm facing this difficulty and that. So I think the event, it's really different from others, I would say. You have attended before, so maybe you can share, how do you feel about, yeah, it's kind of me interviewing you now.
For me, the whole thing is really about value and connection and talking to people. I don't mind talking to the same person for an hour if the conversation is proven to be of quality. Whereas
Yeah.
perhaps for other people, it might be very different. They want to talk to the most people at the least amount of time to get the most name cards, which
Yeah.
obviously I think in our preference and both of our mentality, that's not really what we're getting at. Therefore, you have your BYOB series, and therefore I have attended instead of going to, like you've mentioned, the ones with thousands of people. But obviously, that has worked really well. And like you said, you have to credit that to your own background as well. Not a lot of people have somebody like that within their own firm where they are able or even enjoy hosting events on a monthly basis. Now, for yourself, that being something that has worked really well, can you share with us something that might not have worked very well, might be a challenge? It doesn't have to be a failure or anything, but it might be something that's more of a struggle and came less natural to you when it comes to creating content for the firm. Is there an example of that as well?
Of course. So given that like BYOB, it's my baby, I have more expectation on that. That's also my pain point, because the goal of hosting these events is to create a community. So we want each other to bond, to, meet up elsewhere, to out of the office and stuff. But I don't think that is going like as well as I would love to. That is always mentioned at the end of the event. But I'm sure, given that it's the first meeting, very hard. But of course, that will be my dream. Like people sending me photos afterwards saying, oh, I meet up with Joyce for a coffee because we have this upcoming projects that we want to market and stuff. That is the ultimate goal. But for now, it's more of one-off. People come and they know each other and then they will just go. I would really hope that it will create an impact for people to say, oh, why are you guys friends? Oh, we met from BYOB. That is the line that I would ultimately want to hear from all the participants. So I would say the pain point will be creating an impact. So I would say there is a big improvement still.
That's very interesting because in a gist, what you've actually summarized is you really want to be that connector of creating a community, right? That's kind of what you want. You want people to recall you as the community person. Now, it might be surprising to a lot of people in the legal industry because that's not something that they would think of or perhaps perceive as being important when it comes to building their business. Now, if you were placed in a legal firm or a law firm where they don't value that, why do you think people should invest in building communities specifically? Why do you think it's so important now? Is it because it's harder to get clients on board just through word of mouth? Is it because after COVID, attending big events is no longer a compulsory thing? It's more like a luxury thing. It doesn't mean everybody must go. Why do you think people who have not considered building community should, in your point of view?
I think there are a lot of accountable and big law firm in Hong Kong which do not need to do any networking event and millions of dollars just flow in. So that's fine. That's another story. But for us, like a small firm, we have to stand out from other law firms so that we have our own character, we have our own culture, we have our own message and vibe. So different vibes just click with different people. So if your firm, it's okay to try something new, to stand out from this kind of saturated market, because the law is the same. Every Hong Kong law firm will deliver a similar result if that's like issuing a demand letter or something. So it's more or less the same. So why you? Why will they choose this firm? It has to be something with the people because it's real human doing the work for you, right? So if you have a dinner with them, chit chat, or a networking event, and you really know that person, it's more likely for them to choose you. Put yourself out there. Our legal team won't really go to events or stuff, but I will be on behalf of them. It's quite innovative. It's young. It's energetic. Put yourself out there so that people can really know you personally. Then it's more likely for them to think about you when they have any laws inquiries in the future. Yeah.
I agree. You raised two really good points. One being staying on top of mind when they have the need finding somebody who's in the legal industry. You want them to remember you because of the people, because they're not going to remember the law, right? They're not going to be
Yeah.
like, oh, demand letter has
Yeah,
to be
exactly.
from JC Legal. They're not going to have that connection. Just being different is very important right now with the digital world, with everybody being online, with just an immense amount of information influx, and people are just tired and confused and so on and so forth. So you've raised two very great points. Another thing that came up when looking at different reports about content marketing as a mean to promote and market their company, one very interesting concept has jumped out for a lot of people who are in marketing. It's a term that everybody knows about, which is personal branding. So when it comes to the legal industry, you have the lawyers who are going to be the person that's going to be talking one-on-one to the clients. When it comes to personal branding, is that something that your firm is also considered doing? Is it something that perhaps your boss is already doing? Or what do you foresee as being personal branding for lawyers in the future? What is your idea about that?
Before, we are very much focused on helping Janice on her personal branding because she does have a very interesting story coming all the way from Malaysia to Hong Kong to set up her own law firm. And we're specialized in cross border and all that stuff. So we focus a lot on nominating her for awards and interviews. Now we have in-house trainee to associate. So we are planning to have them to do more talks and also webinars with external parties, with our partners, and also with universities. Janice always said that JC Legal stands for Janice Chu. Yes, but JC team is like the team. So you can push everyone else to face the camera and talk to everyone so that not everyone is just thinking Janice Chu. She is really keen to push the team out.
Cool. That is definitely, I think, is a breath of fresh air as well, because not a lot of, let's just say, traditional or professional companies would consider doing things like this because they feel
Mhm.
like it's not worth the time. It's so
Yeah,
much effort. I don't want to write. I don't want to show my face. I don't want to tell people.
yeah,
I just want to work. I just want to do what brings in the
yes.
money and just talk to client and things like that. And you've
Mhm.
emphasized a really great point that it doesn't really happen that way anymore, right? You actually need to go out there and raise the awareness, not just for the
Mhm.
company, but also for the team, for the individuals, for the messages that the missions and the values that your company actually wants to convey in order to even feel slightly different amongst
Yeah.
your competitors and really
Mhm.
be out there. Now, obviously, you are in a company that has a lot of advantage because getting buy-in seems to be relatively easy because people understand the value of these things. Now, there's so many different things that's happening when it comes to the marketing online arena, right? You have
Mhm.
organic, you have paid, you
Mhm.
have social
Mhm.
media, you have websites, you have all these other different things. Now, from our conversation up to now, I understand that you feel like it's going to work, can be experimented, and can be tried out. From your
Mhm.
point of view, what are some of the things that you would not try? Some of the things that you feel like, yeah, that's definitely something I don't feel like we're ready, or I don't feel like it's going to work for us.
To be honest, not really, because like people think that law firms shouldn't do events, but we did it. Law people think that law firms shouldn't have a marketing team, but we have. So I don't think in our firm it's a culture for not wanting to achieve something. It just might not be the time. If we want to do it, I think we will have a way to do it because at the end of the day, if we deliver the message to the team, maybe say, we really want you to do this because blah, 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 they will consider and they will understand. As long as we have a purpose and a goal and a reason why we want to do that thing. Um,
That's a great answer too. I think if I were to throw this to other companies, perhaps they do have a list of things that they're
mhm,
not going to consider in doing because perhaps they don't see the value, or they don't have the
mhm,
manpower,
mhm.
or they just don't trust in it. There's no trust in that process. Now, with that being said, most law firms, as I would imagine, correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of them invest a lot in what we call search engine optimization as well as pay per click. because they're trying to capture all those who already have an intent in search, perhaps already looking for legal advice, perhaps already looking for a lawyer or a law firm to help them out. They're very specific and they already have that demand. So a lot of companies are trying to grasp hold and reach these people who already have that intent. Now, with your idea, however, you're actually operating way above in the what we call the top funnel area, where you're doing a lot of brand building, personal branding, community building, and you're nurturing them. Now, within your strategy or within your perspective, are you guys also advocately doing a lot of things on what we call the bottom funnel, trying to drive those who have a search? Or, like you've mentioned, there's so many competitors here in Hong Kong, there's really no point in putting too much emphasis in that. What is your take on attacking people who already have a high intent, specifically to search?
So I would say we focus more on generating our own impact and also our own voice to attract leads instead of searching from the pool of in need person to see if we can help. Because we have our website, we have the WhatsApp button. You can just inquire your matter with our principal directly, and maybe we can set up a call. But in terms of new leads and our direction, we would say it's really important to have a trusted image. So if we have events, we don't expect there will be like 5 leads tomorrow. We just want to build this image first because there will be another like referral from our service partners. So we have that secured. But to really drive leads and also attract new clients or cross-border clients, we tend to do more events or webinars. So recently we've traveled to Malaysia because the borders are all open, and we host a webinar on doing business in China, and we host it with our partners and also with HKTDC. So that brings in leads, and that is unexpected, to be honest. We just want to build our name in Malaysia to tell the Malaysia entrepreneurs and also startup and SMEs JC Legal exist. But unexpectedly, there is some leads. So that is a bonus. But we didn't do that intentionally to bring leads in. If you show your professional side and also what we can bring for you to add value to your company incorporation or legal side, then it's an event, so they can directly talk to you. For them to search online, there's like 10 law firms or like even more, of course, to compare who has better profile, more competitive. They can just simply search our content and see, oh, they're active on hosting events, people join, they know what they're doing. So we focus a lot more on being out there instead of relying on people finding us. Yeah.
I think that's actually superb. And you're really giving the perfect answer to anybody who might ask me as to why consider content marketing. At the end of the day, you've mentioned some of the most biggest benefits and the most powerful thing with content marketing. It might sound like it's magic or a bluff, that the less you think about driving leads, the more you're actually going to be able to drive leads. And I think we both definitely agree on that. Because
it's like dating.
Exactly. Because the more you're thinking about, I want to do this because I want to achieve these leads, of course, there is a strategic framework where you can put yourself in a better position to reach that goal. But the more you think about it when it comes to creating content, the less you're going to get there. What I can guarantee is most people who are making viral videos did not expect it to go viral.
Yeah.
That's why it went viral, right?
Yeah.
Most influencers are people who are creating all these trending TikToks or Instagram reels. They didn't expect it to blow up. And if you were to backtrack and look at their history, they've spent years doing different pieces of content, building their name, gaining their consistency, growing momentum, like you said. And ultimately, things just kind of happen. And unless people and communities and companies are willing to invest their time into creating these amounts of touch points for their brand awareness to grow, to build the differentiation between themselves and their competitors, and really stand out being the top of mind, can you actually enjoy the fruits of content marketing?
Yeah.
Now, you're definitely a very successful case scenario because it has proven to work and you have garnered bonuses that has come in. Now, I'm going to throw a question in here, which might seem to be off on a slight tangent, but I think it's something that, as I have witnessed on my own content, that people
Mm-hmm.
always want to know about, which is why I've been
Mm-hmm.
talking about it quite a bit, which is AI. Now, when it comes to the introduction of artificial intelligence in perhaps the easing of content creation, and even more so within your field, which is really interesting. I've read a case study somewhere where you can actually tell it to write legal stuff as well. Of course, it's not
Mm-hmm.
going to be reliable, but
Mm-hmm.
you can actually generate some sort of intel and information that it has grasped hold on the
Mm-hmm.
internet. Now, putting your community building networking events aside and thinking about just creating content, and which you have mentioned, right? The law is going to be the same around Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm.
Every lawyer is going to give you more or less the same thing. You're picking them
Mm-hmm.
because of that person. Now, once we have something like artificial intelligence and AI coming in, how do you feel is going to impact perhaps the marketing of law firms overall? Do you think it's going to be a negative impact, or are you somebody who's quite optimistic and thinking you can utilize this tool to create better touch points and better content to promote the
Mm-hmm.
differentiator of JC Legal versus other legal firms?
Mm-hmm. So interesting enough, we have just like recently, maybe last week, our team were just playing around with the chat box, and then we were like, "Oh, write a poem for JC Legal," and then they just like wrote a 10 sentence thing. So I think for our industry, we did try to say write us a demand letter and see what's the response. And yeah, it's one of the templates that you can find on Google. But for the case, we found that it's false. Case studies are not legit. So I would say AI is good, it's great, but sometimes human can do all the fact checking or a real case study that they can implement for your case. So it's more on the customization. AI is good, but you still need us.
Definitely, definitely. I think a lot of people think it's so interesting that you can just use this tool and make real all the stuff that you're not able to do, which for other little spoiler alert, you can check out one of my latest webinars, which talks about AI implementation when it comes to creating content and
Mhm.
using and keeping that human touch. It's definitely what you said, right? There's no point in trying to use AI to generate a what we call a one-click result. There's
Mhm.
definitely no way. You would still need human beings or at least variously more prompts to get the AI to the result that you're actually requiring. And when it comes to anything that's legal related, it definitely requires that human touch, which I would
Yeah.
imagine you would answer me and say that's why you're going to have to continue doing all these community building, personal branding, and all
Mhm.
these kind of content
Mhm.
around promoting and telling people about the messages of JC Legal. Now, you've
Mhm.
mentioned there's also branches in the UK as well as in Malaysia for the firm, and you're testing out different things here in Hong Kong to spread that across the whole ecosystem within your law
Mhm.
firm. Now, perhaps give us a slight teaser as to the upcoming maybe 1 year. What can we actually expect your law firm, the law firm that you represent, in doing on a, let's just say, a APAC or a global scale that you have actually perhaps started in Hong Kong and have spread it across different regions? Can you share that with us as
Mhm.
well?
We're definitely hoping to expand our Malaysia team and also the UK team. So currently, there are one colleague based in KL and two in the UK. So we would like to have more events and also webinars worldwide, I would say. We're already planning some webinars in Malaysia again. I will be visiting again very shortly to catch up with people and just have our name known. We are having a BYOB in the UK next month. So we are expanding this series to everywhere that we have office to shine in all these locations first before we really branch out again, because that's a lot of work. So stay tuned. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Now, before we actually wrap this up, I think you've raised a lot of very interesting points, as mentioned, that is really the power within content marketing and just content overall, despite you being in legal or like me being in marketing, or even shout out again to Barton, who's in real estate. So, if you were to have to give somebody in the legal industry one final advice about creating content for the firm, what would it be? What would it be that you would tell them?
I would say it's to be genuine and know why you are doing such things, because it's not common for marketers in law firms. So you need to know why you're doing such. Why are you promoting? what you want to promote. And I think that will really keep you motivating on being innovative, to try new things, to go to new events.
That's great. Again, thank you so much to Janessa for sharing all these insights. I think it's a breath of fresh air to know that there are marketers in different professional industries and expertise opening doors with content, creating content and using it to differentiate your brand and build your brand awareness really is effective regardless of where you are and what industry you operate in. So again, thank you so much to Janessa. And of course, for those of you who are new to this channel, be sure to check out all the other videos, as well as the one that I featured Barton in, where we talk about how real estate is utilizing personal branding as well as content marketing. So hope to see you all again soon. And I hope to have more interviewees come on and share their content marketing journey. All right. Thank you, Janessa.
Thank you.